Welcome to Unplugged Live with Dr. Diane Smith-Clark, PhD. Get ready to get inspired by the stories of overcoming life's challenges to bring change and transformation. Here's Dr. Diane.
Hi, and welcome back to Unplug. I'm Dr. Diane Clark, your host. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Listen, I'd like for you to like, share, subscribe this broadcast. Bring your friends in, your neighbor, even your enemies. Tell them Unplug is on the line now. Today, we're going to be talking about some self-help things that you can do in the community to help our youth. We have a lot of negative information. We have a lot of negative situations, but we don't see a lot of programs that are making us aware of how maybe to intervene in these situations and redirect our youth in a positive way. So today I want to talk about a program that's local here in Jacksonville to help our youth. If you have a misguided teen or young person who is exhibiting some mental health issues, there is help for you, and there's a place that you can go. It's called Global Leadership Training Consortium, and it's under the direction of Mark Dickerson Enterprises. And I'm going to bring my guest on and let him tell you all about the program, how you can get involved, and how the youth that you know that may need help can participate in the program. Hi, Mark. Good evening.
Good. Hey, Dr. Clark, good to have you. I'm not sure if it's evening or morning, but good to be here this morning, this afternoon, this evening. Thank you for having me.
Whatever time of day it is, okay. Well, thank you so much for being my guest on Unplugged. And I would like for you to talk about, I was just telling the audience, we were going to talk about some positive efforts in our community to really bring intervention to our youth, because we can always report something negative or something uncomfortable, undesirable, maybe that youth are exhibiting. But I understand that your program is a great intervention program and it works with youth mental health. I want you to just talk about your program, what you're doing, how you're doing, and how people can connect with you.
Absolutely, Dr. Clark. Again, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here to join you and your online family to talk about something that I think is so important and so prevalent in our culture right now. Before I dive into talking about the companies that I've been given the responsibility to manage, I'll say this, that one word that has become really profound to me over the last few months or a few years actually has been the word awareness. And I appreciate platforms like this, Dr. Clark, where you are helping make believers, people, the city, business owners, parents, organizations, churches aware of the resources that are here right in our own backyard to help us deal with the things that we're dealing with. I just taught a lesson to my church recently about awareness, and I learned two things about awareness. One is awareness sheds light, right? It brings about light. It brings things to our conscience. But awareness also gives us the opportunity to make a change, to do something, to take action, right? So it's one thing to know and be in the know about certain things, but it's another thing to actually take responsibility and take actions. And sometimes we don't take actions because we don't know what the next action should be. We don't know if there's anything that we can do, right? So I've been burdened and given this responsibility to start these organizations that really help bring awareness and help parents, people, churches, business owners, kids take action. One of the things that I'm really most proud of is this youth summer mental health suicide prevention camp. This past summer was our year 2, our second year doing it, and it was just incredible. What we do is we take 2 weeks and we partner with organizations that are also very aligned with this awareness and with this giving people the tools to take actions. We partnered with JTA, Jacksonville Transportation Authority, with the CEO there. We partnered with ViStar. We partnered with Florida Blue. We partnered with Duval County Public School System. We partnered with So many other organizations, family support services. We partner with regional river regions and so many other organizations that are doing the work. And our job, our whole goal was to create a safe space for youth, for teens, aged from 6th grade to 12th grade and beyond, to deal with the issues they face every day. And you said it as you opened your show, Dr. Clark, that there's so much negativity going on. The media is full. There's no shortage of negative things, negative influences, negative directions, negative directives, negative voices. But we have partnered together, myself and these organizations, to create 2 weeks where kids can come together, find a safe space to be taught about their emotions, to be taught about what it means to feel deeply, to be taught about the different ranges of emotions and how to deal with those emotions when they come up, right? Tools they can use to help what we call regulate their brain or regulate their internal system, right? And so that's how we spent the summer, 2 weeks, going on field trips, bringing in guest speakers, pouring into these kids. About 60 kids we had show up in total, and we had a chance to just love on those guys and just share with them, get them out serving other people. And man, we saw so many other things happen. And what we do is in January we're going to start what's called our mini camps, and there'll be these 1-day intensives where we will get with the parents, get with the kids, kind of rehash what we learned last summer and get them ready for what's going to happen again in July, coming up this July 2024. It'll be here in no time. So that's just one of the things I do. And the other thing that I'm able to do is work with, I have an organization called the Global Leadership Training Consortium. That's where I take these same principles, these same empathy-based principles, these same trauma-informed principles, these same principles of helping regulate the human anatomy, the human system. And I teach them on a corporate level. I teach organizations how to become more trauma informed, how to become more empathy based. I teach them how to not do more harm in the hiring process, in the firing process, in the training process, in their processes and procedures, in their manuals, making sure their governance is all seen through trauma informed lens. I mean, you know, like I know, Dr. Clark, and many of those watching right now, we know that some of the most deep rejections that we feel is once we have arrived at a job or arrived at a career, and we get there and the career doesn't know what to do with our humanity, right? We walk into the doors of these careers with our degrees, with our suits and ties, but we're still human. And we bring this baggage to work with us. And if we're not careful, or if we're not informed or aware, then we start to change the temperature or the energy around us because of our own baggage. And organizations who are not aware that we come triggered, we come with this baggage, can tend to exacerbate that, right? And the polished young man and the polished young woman walking into the boardroom, walking into the business meeting, walking into the CEO or the C-suite gets triggered. And that broken human, that unattuned to person shows up. And typically what happens is we get let go. But I want to help teach. This Global Leadership Consortium is all about helping organizations learn how to see people as people and not punish them for their brokenness, but put systems in place that honor the whole person. So those are just a couple of things that I'll stop talking there, Dr. Clark.
Wow. You cover a lot of important areas. I've been through the trauma-informed training as well. And I learned so many things that I thought I knew. And I realized I didn't know them as well as I thought I knew them. So it is always good to expose yourself to these programs, to expose yourself to more information, to really become empathetically involved. When there is a problem, there is always a solution. And those who lend themselves to finding solutions rather than magnifying problems usually come up with some process or some way that we can help either eliminate or calm down situations that are happening in our community. That is so key, what you're saying with the youth mental health, because things have changed, Mark. Family dynamics have really impacted our youth. Family used to be a father, a mother, and children. And in that dynamic, we were supposed to be balanced and loved and nurtured and so forth. And then as the times began to change, the environment began to change, and we discovered that what looked like the perfect setup was interrupted by war. It was interrupted by drugs, interrupted by negative behaviors, mental health issues that were undiagnosed, that were actually mental illnesses that took one of the parents out of the home. So we create a new situation, but we did not create a new answer for the situation. And thus the children became impacted by that. You have so many young men, 40, 50 years old, saying, I never knew who my father was. I knew his name. And I met him a couple of times, but I didn't know enough about him to know who I am, or where I came from, or what do I have like you as my father. And we educate them, right? We educate them and we dress them up. But that area of trauma has never been healed, never been addressed. And they take that in a work environment, and let's just say they have a male boss that's very domineering or very controlling, and they begin to relate that trauma to that leader. And now you've provided a way, when we realize we have issues, to bring awareness to those situations.
Dr. Clark, yes, it's funny you talk about the things that happen. We talk about youth mental health, and we talk about mental health in the workplace and how organizations can be more empathy-based and more trauma-informed. But to your point, it all boils back down to those early years in life. What happened, right? So I think we said this on one conversation before, that the conversation is actually changing now from what's wrong with you to what happened to you. That one change in conversation really says, I'm willing to put on a different lens and see you not as the behavior that you're displaying, but see you as a result of possibly what happened to you. So it brings light to your story, right? Where did this come from? You didn't just wake up like this. Where did this come from? A displaced father in the home? Did it come from neglect in the home? Did it come from? I just had a conversation with one of my clients a couple of days ago, and this young man doesn't live here in Jacksonville. He's off somewhere, but I had a conversation with him, and he's just realizing, Dr. Clark, when he got still, when he got quiet, when life caused a moment of stillness, the busyness that we oftentimes have ourselves in, and we run from those unhealed areas to that busyness, the busyness stopped for him. And he had a chance to sit in what we call a Selah moment, just a moment where it's just stop. He realized, and this has been there the whole time, he realized when he got still, oh my goodness. He started having visions and pictures, and his body started responding at midlife to things that happened to him as a child that the brain repressed. And he realized that his father was in the home. His father was there, but the father figure had imposed horrific abuse on the child at an age that the child was helpless, hopeless, and this mid-age person is now you got to think about that. Yeah. This has been hidden and buried, and you succeeded, and you climbed all sort of ladders, and now in this moment of silence, these things are coming to the surface. That is re-traumatizing. That is bringing things back up. But the beauty of that is this: the way that we're designed is the mind will protect itself and protect the conscience as long as it can. But whatever bruise was there does not go away. At some point, somehow, maybe it's a silent moment, a silent season, that bruise will resurface. And what I've learned, Dr. Clark, is I've learned to put on different lens. That bruise or that outburst or that psychotic break or that whatever is sometimes, I believe this with all my heart, an invitation into healing.
Absolutely. You know, Mark, you hit something there, because life will bring you to that moment of silence, that
Mm,
moment of stillness, especially when you have filled hurtful, painful memories with activity.
mm,
Activity slows down, then the repressed memory shows up. And imagine where he is now. He's re-traumatized. That's double trauma. He's re-traumatized, and now he has to face the fact, with all I've accomplished, I did it as a broken person. I wonder what my life would have been like had I had an opportunity to heal from these things. What would my future have been? Where would I be now if I were healed? If I accomplished all of this broken, wow, where would I be? So it's an excellent opportunity. It's a very uncomfortable opportunity, but an excellent opportunity for him to heal, because he's going to discover not only was the father abusive, he was also emotionally unavailable. Because had he been emotionally available, he would have been able to connect with the son and see what I am doing is not the best thing for him. It may have been what happened to me when I was being reared, but it is not the best thing for my son. So he was emotionally unavailable. It says that he didn't get to know the child. And you know, we have children, and most people who have babies want babies. There are some people who do oops, they call it, you know, and they didn't really mean to get pregnant. But you know, that's a mysterion, because if you're having unprotected sex, you know there's always a risk that you're going to get pregnant. So I won't go into that. But oh, well, I didn't mean, I wasn't trying to get pregnant from him, but you were having unprotected sex. What did you think? You know, what were the things that could have happened as a result of that? Anyway, that's another story. You know, and we get these children, and they come packaged. Their life is already purpose when they cry into the world. And it would be neat. I know this is utopic what I'm saying now. If parents had the ability to discern that child's purpose, their destiny, what molding and shaping they would need in order to enter their purpose in life. But we don't have that for the most part. We only get to really start knowing them, say 6 7 months, when personality starts to, first 6 months is just crying, I want my way, do this, do that. And then about 6 or 7 months they start exhibiting, uh, I have anger issues, or I'm easily frustrated and I can't handle waiting, or I don't deal well when you speak in this tone. You start seeing that as early as 6 7 months. And then we could really pay attention to our children and get to know them, instead of going by the way we were raised. And we have a whole generation now that's damaged emotional. I'll say emotionally, maybe not mentally, but emotionally, because they came from that era that I came from, where you got a whipping. A whipping was the answer to everything. Whatever you did, I mean, even if it could be corrected, you got the whipping along with having to correct the issue. Now, in your generation, you probably weren't exposed to that, but you have a lot of people.
Oh no, that belt was the answer.
I mean,
Everything.
yeah. Yeah, and you couldn't talk yourself out of it. There was no explanation. There was no understanding of what triggered you, or the why to, so you learn how to be an expert liar and an actor to try and get out. Well,
Survive,
that
yeah.
follows you. Yeah, that
Yes.
follows you on into your professional life. So you're on a job, and let's say you do something wrong. Bam, there's the trigger. So you're expecting to be fired. You're expecting to have some harsh discipline happen. And when you're on edge like that, you usually respond to your own emotion instead of waiting to see how the situation is going to play out.
Yes. Dr. Clark, that is so good. You said some things. I will just say I was raised in an era, to your point, where I got my tail tore out the frame, and it wasn't just one tail tore out the frame. It was, I was raised in an area. I was raised in an area of Jacksonville where it was poverty, abject poverty, everybody's family, so the whole family's poor. But they did the best they could, village style raising. And if you got if you got a beaten by one, you get a beaten by everybody.
Yeah.
You're gonna get a beating as every house you go down. They're gonna make sure you understand. So I got that, and it became cultural. It was culturally
Yes.
accepted, and that can go. I can go a whole nother route, but I won't. But here's what I will say. You talked about parents being able to discern kids' futures and their potential early on. So there's this string of videos out there on the internet called strange situations. Strange situations. I would encourage your listeners to go and watch that, because what it does
Find
is
it on YouTube.
Yes, ma'am. Find it on YouTube.
Strange situations on YouTube.
And it's this study long time ago, back in the 70s, the study of what we call the attachment cycle. You talked about the client that I told you about, who was the parent was emotionally unavailable, the trauma that was imposed on the child at an early age. What I've learned in watching this and studying attachment styles is that children come into the world with an ability to communicate. It may not be words formed yet, but they have a language, and the language is the cry. This is their voice. This is their sense of agency at birth. And different cries have different sounds. Just like different tribes have different dialects, different cries have different sounds. And every cry means something. And what it takes is this curiosity over and over again on the part of a mother or a father, the caregiver, to figure out, what is this child saying to me? I know, am I going too long, Dr. Clark? Am I going too long?
No, we still have
what is this child saying to me? And a mother or a father over time, hundreds of thousands of times in the first year of the child's life, has the opportunity to be attuned to whatever that voice is saying. That's the child's agency. This is how they communicate before they learn the human language. The human language is their second tongue. Their first tongue is not English. Their first tongue is whatever this belt comes out of me that communicates, right? So the mother or the father or the caregiver has hundreds of thousands of times to come along when that child says, when they cry with a different word or different sound, they're saying, I have a need. The attuned parent begins to tune into that frequency and learn what that cry means. And the attuned parent, hundreds of thousands of times, meets that need. That's called rupture and repair. That's called that's the nervous system being calmed every time that parent meets that need. Now, what happens is sometimes, for whatever reason, some parents are unable to meet those needs. They may be emotionally unavailable. There may be several kids in the home. The parent may have some mental issues. The parent may be removed from whatever reason. That need may not be met. And that child, every time that need is not met, Dr. Clark, that is sending signals to the child. And the child starts to, before they turn one, develop a sense of either my voice matters or it does not.
That's right.
And what parents do is what we do. You've seen this before at daycares, babies who are really quiet. Mom puts them down. They go right to the front door and they're just quiet and they don't respond. We typically call that baby the good baby. And what we say is the baby who goes to the door and is disconnected and cries is a bad baby. We even say, why can't you be like them?
Wow.
But the silence does not mean that they're a good baby. As in all actuality, that silence is speaking the opposite. It
Yes.
means that my
Yes.
voice was not attuned to in the first 12 months.
Wow.
Whether I use my voice now or not, nobody's going to care. So I've learned to disassociate. So my silence, just as much or even more cortisol is going through my body as a 1 year old, the stress hormone when I'm being disconnected. But I won't use my voice because nobody has told me they care.
Even though they do,
Even though they do, they
they
do
just
not
don't have
know
the
how
ear.
to, they don't
Mhm.
have the ear, they don't have the
Interpret.
emotional intelligence, they can't interpret that song. And that baby has already developed how this is how I show up in the world. The beautiful thing is that can be healed over
Yes.
time.
Hmm.
Parents can learn how to discern a child's future or how they speak or what matters to them over time
Hmm.
through being attuned to when that child uses that voice to say, I have a need. So, yeah.
Hmm. That is so important, Mark. And pastoring a congregation. Listen, the church is the dumping ground for every dysfunction known to man, because the church offers a solution. At least it says, "Come to me." Jesus said, "Come to me, ye who are burdened, heavy laden, and I'll give you rest." And people are looking for rest. And I'm not talking about sleep. I mean peace, in inner peace, and resolve that I'm okay. I'm all right. That's so good. That is so good. I wish we had more time to talk about that, because I have adults who are brilliant, Mark. They're smart, but they don't talk. And it's like pulling teeth to say, okay, well, what are you doing now? Or where are you going? What are you working on? They can barely explain it to you, but brilliant. You test them, they're brilliant. They have the information. And I know that's some of what's happened to them early on, never been dealt with. And employers call those good employees. Yeah, because they don't create any situations. They sit to their desk. They do whatever you tell them to do. They don't make any waves. They call those good employees. But people who are in tune with themselves tend to do more in life, even though they will make waves. Because when
Yeah.
you know who you are, you know your identity. You won't just lay down and accept anything.
Yes.
So identity is the key, and
Yes.
it has to be shaped. Wow, from infancy. I know, but thank God that He created the science of psychology, so
Mm-hmm.
that those who really want to be helped, those that really want to be healed, or bring change to their lives, will have an opportunity. That's why I am so pro awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Go see a counselor, and you know when you're off.
Yes.
You know when there's something wrong with you, and you might be saying, I can't afford it. But there are all types of pay levels out there, many ways your insurance would give you even a month's worth of counseling. Take advantage of that and put yourself in the best healthy mindset that you can, so that you can enjoy the peace, the victory, and the love that we
Mm-hmm.
were created to have. Because I believe that God created us for love, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why we are so disturbed by dysfunction and
Mm-hmm.
hate and sin, because all of those work against love. Thank you,
Mm-hmm.
Mark, for being my guest
Thank
tonight.
you for having me, Dr. Clark.
So I am so grateful that I had the opportunity to have some of your time, because I know you're busy. I want you to tell our audience before we go off the line how they can take advantage of your services. How do the children get to you, or how do the adults, or are there companies can participate with the global consortium?
Yes, they can go to www.globalleadershiptrainingconsortium.org. Globalleadershiptrainingconsortium.org. All my information is there. All the contact information is there. You can learn about the youth mental health camp through that, or you can visit us at alcjax.com. At alcjacks.com. That's our church. Our youth camp goes through there as well. So we can be found. Information is there. We'd love to support. We'd love to help out.
All right. Thank you. This has been Unplugged, and we look forward to seeing you next Thursday night at 7 o'clock. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Dr. Diane Clark, Unplugged. Have a great rest of the week.
Thanks for joining us for Unplugged Live with Dr. Diane Smith Clark, PhD, helping to bring change and transformation in the mental health space within the church community. Dr. Diane wants to hear from you. If you have any questions, comments, guest recommendations, or program topic ideas, visit DianeUnplugged.com and click the Contact Us link. Dr. Diane also appreciates your prayers and your financial support. You can give online at DianeUnplugged.com and select Donate. If your business or ministry organization is interested in sponsoring this program, you can go to DianeUnplugged.com and click the Contact Us link. Unplugged Live is on all the social media platforms. Just search Dr. Diane Smith Clark, follow, and subscribe. Unplugged Live with Dr. Diane Smith Clark, PhD. Healthy mind, wealthy life.